We have time for another little practice. These are prepositions. And they get used all in different ways. Now, just to review. Oh, when did Sophie come in? I almost stepped on her. Just to review, on refers to being on top of something, right? To is to you're referring to going toward. And of means sort of like next to, you know. And up, until refers to time, and in refers to inside. Now, in some contexts, the meanings can change a little bit. And the only way to explain this The only way to explain to you the different ways in which these prepositions can be used is by example. So let's at the bottom of page 50, there are some sentences. There are some sentences, and I'm going to do the first one. I will do A. And we have to decide the correct preposition to use, okay, the correct one. And so I'm going to do the first one. There have been a lot of improvements here, okay. Now, so let's do. Whose turn is it? Okay, I think we're back to our new classmate.
I grew up in a small country.
Correct. I grew up, meaning you grew from being small to being up. So I grew up in a small country town. And Nat, you would do number C.
There used to be a grocery shop.
This is a tricky one. Well, this is, remember I said that sometimes the meaning of the prepositions changes by context. And in English, if a shop is located at a corner, we say on the corner. And it's just a custom. So I would say the when we leave the the shop where the pizzas are sold, where they make the pizza store is on the corner. We would say on the corner. Now you could also say at the corner. You could say at the corner. You'll hear both. It would be more common. It would be more typical to hear someone say the pizza store is on the corner. But both would be correct. Tim, let's see, you would do D.
A young married couple moved to next door.
To next door. Because we're talking about going from one place to another place. Chop, E.
Bought the new house next door to you.
To you, that's correct. because in this case we're using to show location, proximity. It's this chair is next to this chair. Nat is sitting next to Tim. Location. With E? Yeah. Until is the correct one because we're talking about time. Until is correct. And G. Ma?
And elderly man has moved in next door.
Moved in? That's correct. In is correct. It is correct. So, and this is another example of how the way the preposition is used in some cases changes by context. So, if we used logic, we would probably say a young married couple moved to next door. That would be what would make sense logically, but that's not how we say it. We say moved in because they are moving into a new house. So that's why we would say that they're moving into a new house. And so we would say if they have relocated their residence from one place to another, they have moved in next door, move into a new house. Okay, Sue, letter E.
I spent my childhood
I spent my childhood on. We would say on in this case because the childhood was spent on the property. So you're on the farm. Because you can't, a farm is like outside. It's like a field. And so you can't go inside of a farm, you go onto a farm. Okay? It'd be like, let's say that I spent my childhood blank a boat. I would say I spent my childhood on a boat. And it's the same thing. I spent my childhood on a farm. But if instead of farm we said house, I spent my childhood in a house. Now, are you understanding what the difference is? Because in means that you are within a place. On means that you're on top of a place. So a farm is just an expanse of land, and we were on the farm. Pew, I.
Many of those houses has been built until the last 10 years.
We're going to say in. And again, this is an example. This is an example of how the way we usually use the preposition changes by context. Because until, if we said until, we would be wanting to say in the future. I will be in Thailand until Sunday. So I'm talking about the future. But if I'm talking about the past, I would say I have been in Thailand for the past 2 months. So in is referring to past, until is referring to future. It was a tricky one. And it's okay, you know, and the reason I'm doing this exercise is because it's showing you how the way we think we would use the prepositions are changed, they're different because of the context.
Teacher,
Yeah.
this sentence I put build up. Can say that.
Which one?
Those house number
have been built up the last 10 years.
many of those houses
Many of those houses have been built.
built up. Built up.
Oh,
10 years.
Can you
oh, I see. Yeah, we could say that. We could say many of those houses have been built up in the last 10 years. We could say that. We could say that. We could either say built or built up. It would mean the same. It would mean the same. But we want to use the preposition in to mean that the houses were built in the past, in the 10 years. The block of, you could do letter J for us if you would like to. Yes, letter J. Correct. The block of flats is up the road from us. Road. That's a hard word for you to say. Road. Road. It's one syllable, but you have to hear all the sounds in just one syllable.